Using his gear fourth, Luffy charges towards Kaido. Luffy said, "One more shot. If this isn't enough, I'll lose." "Bring it on, brat," Kaido responded. The two was about to collide, but one of the CPs zero behind Luffy. Luffy got distracted by these. Kaido was also surprised. Then a flashback came, when also Odin was distracted during their battle. With this distraction, Luffy got hit by Kaido's powerful attack. And we saw Kaido seem shocked and confused. His attack was already thrown, and we see Luffy being unconscious and slowly returning to his original form. Then Momonosuke said, "What? Luffy's voice? It's gone?" Then we saw Luffy return to his original form, lifeless and defeated, the narrator said. Skull Dome rooftop battle. Victor, Kaido, king of the beast pirate. Then Kaido attacked the CP0 for interfering, but looks like the CP0 already accept his fate during that moment, and a huge explosion occur in the dome roof. Then Kaido went to live floor. "Where is your leader? Make that brat Momonosuke declare his surrender. If any of you still wish to fight, step forward now," Kaido shouted. Everyone was shocked. "Straw Hat, Luffy is dead." And the beast pirates celebrate. "Yeah, he's done it. It's a total victory for Kaido-sama." The samurai also are shocked. "It can't be. Young Straw Hat couldn't have." "Straw Hat's voice has vanished," Law exclaimed. "Looks like we were kidding ourselves," Kid responded. "This is a bitter pill to swallow. I've got nothing left," Law said. Nami also doesn't believe that Luffy is dead, and we saw the body of Luffy lying on the ground on the Skull Dome. Then Zunisha speak. "Momonosuke, I can hear it. It really takes me back. I can hear the drums of liberation. This is the first time in 800 years. He is there without a doubt." Momonosuke replied, "What do you mean, Zunisha? Who is?" Then Zunisha replied, "Joy Boy has returned." And we saw Luffy's hair changed and smile. "What's happening? How can I still stand?" "I just lost, but I feel like I'm having a blast," Luffy said. And we heard a sound of drum, and we saw Luffy standing up laughing, and haki is coming out of his body. Momonosuke can't believe what he is hearing. "Luffy is Joy Boy," Momonosuke said, and Yamato responded, "Zunisha said that?" And in Pleasure Hall, left Brain Tower. Sanji woke up and feels the presence of Luffy. "Luffy?" Sanji said with a shocking face reaction. Law, Kid, and Boss Hyogoro also felt the presence. Is that Sir Straw Hat?" Boss Hyogoro asked. Marco even felt it. "Hey, you two! He's still breathing," Marco said to Tama and Nami. And the scene switched to Holy Land of Mary Jo. We saw the 5 elders are talking. "We sacrificed one of our best agents and enraged Kaido. Are we sure our priorities are straight?" one of the elders said. Then the other elder responded, "This may be better than the alternative. It's imperative that we snuff out something this problematic." One of the elder also replied, "No matter the era, the world government has always failed to acquire the Gomu Gomu fruit, even after 800 years of trying. It's almost as if the fruit itself is evading us. Well, that's not impossible. All zone fruits have a will of their own, and this one carries the name of a god. After all, the Gomu Gomu fruit is really a mythical zone. It's the human fruit, model Nika. The human fruit model Nika. The user's body gains the properties of rubber in combat. They're supposedly only limited by their imagination, putting smiles on faces far and wide. They are the embodiment of the warrior of liberation, sun god Nika. Awakening exponentially strengthens their rubbery body even more freedom, and it is allegedly the most ridiculous power in the world. We saw Luffy's silhouette dancing in a beating of a drum. "I feel like anything's possible now. I can keep fighting a bit longer. My heartbeat sounds funny. This is my peak. This is Gear 5th, Luffy said. And a burst of haki comes out of the rooftop. Beast pirates are starting to collapse. Kaido said, "What the hell is that? It's on the roof?" The beast pirates are collapsing. "Hey, what's happening? Conqueror's haki? Where's it coming from?" And a giant hand in the roof grabbing Kaido. Everyone is shocked seeing this. Luffy grabbed and dragged Kaido's huge body back to the rooftop as if it's nothing. Luffy spin Kaido's body and slam it on the ground back and forth, and Luffy was laughing doing this. "Straw Hat, so you're still alive. I'm grateful," Kaido said. Then Kaido used his attack blast breath. Luffy with his cartoon face grabs the ground and pull it like it's a rubber to block Kaido's attack. and saw the full body of Luffy using his gear 5th. Kaido said, "Since you're able to make your surroundings rubbery, it should be safe to say you have awakened your paramecia fruit. But something about this feels off." "A transformation like this is more typical of zone fruit," Kaido continues. Kaido swallowed Luffy, and we saw Luffy doing something on Kaido's body. The Kaido spit Luffy. Then Luffy used his attack. Gomu Gomu no Gigant Luffy bodies became a giant. He then grabbed Kaido and used it as jumping rope. Then Kaido attacks Luffy Blast Breath. Luffy was hit by this attack and we saw him free falling. Then Luffy recovers and returned to the Skull Dome. We saw Kaido preparing his attack. 3 World Conquest, Ragnaroku. Luffy was hit and we saw his head reach the live floor below. Everyone on the live floor was shocked to see Luffy's face, and everyone also reacted with a cartoon face. Kaido said, "It's like something out of a picture book. I'll admit, you put on quite the show. But still, you're at the end of your limit. You can't beat me." Kaido continues. And we saw Luffy exhausted and slowly returning to his original form. We also saw Kaido suddenly fell down on his knee, and Luffy said, "Okay, you're right. I'm about to croak. This is taking a lot out of me." And Kaido replied, "You can rest easy and die then. Tales will be told about how you all fought this war." And Luffy responded, "Who cares about that? When you're dead, only your bones stick around." Yamato and Momonosuke was watching the scene. It really is Luffy. He was unrecognizable with his hair and clothes all white like that, Yamato said. But his voice still fading quickly, Momonosuke said. Then Luffy transformed again to his Gear 5th form, and Kaido and Luffy clashed again. Kaido is really amazed by Luffy transformation. What in the world is he? This pure white transformation. Has coated with armament haki and conqueror's haki, and he can influence anything around him with his ability. He fights with such freedom. So versatile. I've never seen anything like it. There is no one in this world capable of taking me down, Kaido said furiously. Then the battle continues. We saw Luffy hits Kaido in the head and bringing Kaido down. And Luffy is happy and said, "I'm having the time of my life. Kaido." Still, Kaido can't believe what Luffy is doing with him. He angrily asked Luffy, "Who the hell are you?" And the scene shifted to Zunisha. How nostalgic, that rhythm, Joy Boy. Hey Joy Boy, it's as if you're right there. How exhilarating. This all feels like fate. I can't help but think that we should put our faith in this boy, Zunisha said. Luffy replied to Kaido, "Who, me? I'm Monkey D. Luffy, the man who's gonna surpass you and become king of the pirates." Kaido smiled. "Glad to see you've still got that big mouth straw hat. We call this an awakening. Your mind and body are finally able to harness the potential of your ability, and what a ridiculous power it is. I've lost a lot in this war, my men, my castle, everything I've built here, but I suppose the same is true for you, huh?" Kaido continues. Luffy replied, "I'm not through yet. I'm taking back everything you've stolen, no matter what." And they clashed again. Both Luffy and Kaido's throw their attacks on each other, and we saw Luffy grabbing a lightning on both of his hands, and Onigashima is about to fall. Kaido said, "You grabbed lightning? How ridiculous. You can keep playing around if you want. In the end, a strong devil fruit power isn't enough to conquer these seas. Look at Roger. He had no fruit power and still brought the world to heel. Such hurdles can only be overcome with haki." And we saw Luffy was plunged on the ground using Kaido's attack, the Death Destroyer Thunder Bagua. But Luffy grabs Kaido and flew on the sky. His arms are stretched all the way and not letting go of Kaido. And Kaido throws the Dragon Twister Demolition Breath attack, which throws slashes on Luffy. And Kaido attacked again. But Luffy is not letting go of Kaido. And suddenly, a huge fist came out on the sky coated in haki. Luffy screamed, "I'm finishing this for good! Onigashima is on the way! Move!" Yamato shouted, "Is he prepared to punch through the island?" Momonosuke said to Luffy to hold on, and don't throw the punch. But confidently Luffy tells Momonosuke to move the Onigashima out of the way. And Kaido said to Luffy that he will his attack head-on, and he continues that the country's hero was burned to death 20 years ago. And suddenly Kaido's body turned to a blazing fire and called this Flaming Drum Dragon. And Kaido continues, This has been a lawless land since then. They've waited all this time for you saviors to show up. Kaido's body is so hot and Luffy let him go. But Kaido said it's okay to let go and he will not run away. After all, your right hand won't come crashing down, because I'm going to vaporize it. And Luffy replied, like I'll let it happen, and Luffy and Kaido prepared to unleash their final and powerful attack. And Luffy remember what Boss Hyogoro teach him, the Ryuo, which he can land an attack without making a contact. Luffy said, I'm gonna knock you to the bottom of hell, and the two attack clashes the Barang gun of Luffy and the rising dragon blazing Bagua of Kaido. The attack is not only clashes of their brute strength, but also clashes of their haki, Kaido speak, and said, I have to hand it to you for coming this far, you'll never be able to change the world. Then a flashback of Kaido is shown. Kaido was only 10 years old, but he was already the strongest soldier in their kingdom. This story happens 46 years ago in the kingdom of Vodka, but their nation is always on war and had to loot in order to pay the celestial tribute, and Kaido is not happy of this. He questioned why the Celestial Dragon are bossing them around. Then their king offered Kaido to the World Navy for enlistment, but Kaido was furious about this. But Kaido escaped and became a wanted person. And 44 years ago in Pirate Island, he was recruited by Whitebeard to join the Rocks Pirate. And after the God Valley incident, Rocks Pirate went on their separate ways. Then Kaido remembers his conversation with King. If Joy Boy is the same man that you're waiting for, then I know who he is. Then King respond, who is it? Apparently Odin wanted to open the Wano to welcome Joy Boy. Back to the current, Kaido said, Straw Hat, what kind of world do you wish to make? And Luffy respond, a world where my friends can eat. As much as they like, that's my kind of world. Luffy won the exchange and hit Kaido in his head, and back to their conversation with King. Kaido said, King, I know who he is. Joy Boy is the man who'll be able to beat me one day. And King smiled. If that's true, I don't think he'll be ever appear. And we saw Onigashima land safely, and Momonosuke exhausted. Kaido was defeated. He falls down and slowly returning to his normal form. With the intensity of the attack, Kaido falls and drills on the ground, reaching the underground lava in Wano. And the narrator said, the skies above Wano, Skull Dome Onigashima, the declared victor of the rooftop battle has been revised. And Nekomamushi, who happened on the rooftop, shouted, everybody, listen up, there is no doubt about it now. Luffy drilled Kaido straight down into the ground, and Momonosuke-sama used his gigantic dragon form to prevent Onigashima from crash landing. It's been 20 years since this feud over Odin's regret began, and now it's finally over. And finally, after the fierce fight that started 20 years ago, the reign of the Beast Pirates in Wano Country and the Shogun Orochi has finally ended, and two emperors of the sea were defeated during this battle.